everyone. Hey everyone. Yeah, I don't know why I always push the like button and then turn around and mess with my phone and everything. But I know y'all surprised to see me today this early, right? I can't see y'all. So I know y'all surprised to see me today this early. However, I had to come on early because my schedules are changing. My schedules will be changing. So as of today, I will no longer be doing Life UnMothered on Thursdays. Y'all, I know y'all got nervous, like, you ain't finna do Life UnMothered again. No. It's just my schedules are changing. And so during the week, I am actually busy during the week where it's cutting into my time with my episodes. And so I wanted to jump on today, right now, because I'm not able to do it later. I'm not able to do it Thursday. And so with that being said, the new day is going to be Sundays at 8 p.m. I repeat, Life UnMothered is moving now to Sundays, 8 p.m. So jot that down on your calendar so you don't miss an episode, that you guys can still get on live with me and interact with me. That'd be great if you can do that. Once again, I want to tell y'all thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone who took the time out to actually purchase a copy from me. This book is gaining traction. Is gaining traction, which I absolutely love, and I'm so honored and thankful that it is. So, what else I got to tell y'all? Ooh, I'm just thankful, you know. I'm thankful for a lot. But we're going to jump right on into this episode. I'm going to give y'all an hour long, of course. You know, y'all can catch the replay tonight. I know a lot of people probably still at work or, you know, whatever the case may be, and that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, I'm unavailable for the rest of the week, so I said I got to squeeze the episode in when I can, and that's right now. So, with that being said, y'all see the topic. We about to touch on some uncomfortable topic tonight. This topic is going to be uncomfortable, especially for adults that have narcissistic parents. I need to repeat that. This episode is pertaining to adults that have narcissistic parents. And some of y'all probably don't even know that y'all have a narcissistic parent. I do my episodes based around my journey, my life story, and my truth. And so, with that being said, y'all, I'm going to read my statement piece and we're going to jump right on into this episode. So, this show was born from the pain I never deserved and the healing I fiercely fought for. I know what it's like to be unmothered, to grow up without the nurture, protection, or love I needed. I was raised in trauma, told to stay silent and expect to smile through it all. But I also know what it's like to break cycles, reclaim your truth, and rewrite your story. My mission, my life's purpose, is to shine a light on childhood trauma, abuse, and the pain that most people are too afraid to talk about. I expose the wounds that we were taught to hide and help others rise from them too. This is more than just a show. This is a movement, a mirror, and a safe house for truth. It's for the ones who were told to get over it, but never had the chance to process it. It's for the inner child still waiting to be seen. Because healing isn't just personal, it's generational. And I am not just healing for me. I'm healing for my lineage and helping others to do the same. So if you ever felt unseen, unloved, and unmothered, you are not alone, and we are healing together. So welcome to episode 10 of Life Unmothered, where tonight we will touch on a narcissistic parent often position themselves as a lifelong caregiver. And I know people like, what? I ain't never heard of that. I know, because I had never heard of it either until it came, until it was presented to me, until I had to actually do the research, do the study. So I'm bringing it for y'all. Yes, it's true. A narcissistic caregiver will position themselves to be a lifelong, for lifelong, y'all. You said, hey, Michelle. You say, yeah, yes. So y'all, let's jump on into this episode. So it says, a narcissistic parent often position themselves as a lifelong caregiver by weaving control, guilt, and dependency into the parent-child dynamic. It isn't love or genuine care. It's about keeping power, ensuring they remain centered to your life. And here is some ways they do this, y'all. Let's jump on in, right? Creating dependency. They may discourage independence, making you feel incapable of handling life without them. Y'all, that's a huge sign. A huge sign. They'll position themselves as the one who knows what's best for you. Financial strains are common. They might help with money, but in a way that ensures you stay tied to them. Y'all. So, first of all, a disclaimer. I'm not no doctor. I'm not no therapist. I am a transformational life coach that bring forth definitions that are already researched. The only thing that I'm doing is bringing awareness. And baby, we need to be aware of this, right? Because it's so many of us that are still drained from our parents, even our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. You got parents that still trying to parent you when you in your 50s and 60s. Come on. But they groomed you, right? So let's keep going. So it says, using guilt and obligation. They emphasize sacrifice. After everything I've done for you, you owe me. That's what a narcissistic parent will say to you. That's positioning themselves as a caregiver for life. They twist cultural and religious expectations around honoring parent to justify control. Did y'all hear that? Because some parents will weaponize religion. Come on, y'all. They will weaponize religion. So let's keep going. Any resistance from you can be framed as ungratefulness, selfishness, or abandonment, right? They will fake illness or weakness to keep control, right? Some narcissistic parent magnify health issues. Y'all listen to this. They will magnify health issues, real or imaginary, to ensure that you step into the caregiver role, right? They may use phrases like, who will take care of me when I'm old? Long before caregiving is necessary. This creates pressure to prioritize their needs over your own. Y'all. I'm trying to tell you. And of course, Y'all know during my episodes, what you say, been there? Yes, honey. I've been, that's why I'm making awareness of it, because this will keep you stuck if you don't know the truth. If you don't know, their true intentions. If you know their true intentions as that they trying to become your lifelong caregiver, baby, you gonna be stuck and not understanding what's going on, feeling drained, trying to whatever. Like, I done heard the stories and I've been there myself. So y'all, we got to make awareness of this, right? So it says scapegoating outside support. They may isolate you. Now, y'all know Life Unmothered, I talk about mother wounds. I do. But on this episode, include your mama, your daddy, your siblings, a partner. Place it wherever it fits, right? But on this episode, I'm really honing in on the mamas. So, sabotaging outside support. They may isolate you from other family, friends, or partners who can provide healthier support. Do you hear that? They will isolate you, right? They focus is on you. You not going nowhere. You the one that's going to take care of me, but yet you got other siblings. You got aunties and uncles that can help out, but they will isolate you. They'll undermine your confidence in therapists, mentors, or anyone who encourages independency. Y'all, let me tell y'all a story about this one, okay? Let me read that again before I get into my story. They will undermine your confidence in therapists, mentors, or anyone who encourages independency, y'all. So when I was younger, I had the ability to go to college, right? And I was in this program. I was in this program. The summer came. The only thing, and I didn't have a job after high school, so I was looking for high school, right? I was looking for work in high school. However, I had a mentor that was helping me look for a job, right? So in order for me to go to college, it was paid for. College was paid for me. And all I had to do was have this mentor help me find a job, and I had to work that job until school started. Y'all, my mentor came twice to pick me up from my house, twice. That second time when that mentor dropped me off, my mother told me, tell her, don't come back. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, my school is writing on this. I have an opportunity to go to school. She told me, tell them, don't come back. So when I called the lady, I was like, man, my mom said, don't come back. And she was like, Mona, do you understand what you're losing? I was so afraid of that lady, I couldn't speak up for myself. So I had to. This is where they say they'll undermine your confidence in therapists, mentors, or anyone who encourages independency. So that's why look, we gonna keep going. So it says, by cutting off alternative sources of care, they keep themselves as your only option, right? They keep it as you are their only option. So identity enmeshment, they blur boundaries so much that your role becomes child, caregiver, confidant, not simply their son or daughter. That's what it says. They may expect you to meet emotional needs that a spouse, a peer, or a therapist should feel. Y'all hear that? It says a therapist, a spouse, or a peer should feel, not you. Not you. Over time, this conditioning convinces you that being their caregiver is your identity and purpose, right? Control disguised as love. We talking about narcissistic parenting here, y'all. We talking about narcissistic parenting. Hey, Michelle, thank you. Thank you. God bless you too, love. So we talking about how narcissistic parents will position themselves to be it says, I want to get it right, will position themselves as a lifelong caregiver by weaving control, guilt, and independency into the child parent dynamics, right? So control disguised as love. They mask control with phrases like, y'all listen to this, they will mask their control by phrases like, I only worry about you. I just want to protect you. I'll always be here for you. These sound loving. It says these sound loving, but in subtext it's, you don't get to live without me. Come on, man. Come on. It also says narcissistic parent don't want to be taken care of in a healthy sense. They want to secure lifelong supply. Y'all, we are their supply. Attention, control, relevance, and admiration. Caregiving becomes the perfect diagnosis because society often praise children who sacrifices for their parents, even when it's rooted in manipulation. Do y'all hear that? Society. And that's what we live through. So much of our life is through society, right? Society is not going to be there in our darkest moments, y'all. Society is not going to do that for us, right? But here it is. We have to, caregiver becomes the perfect disguise because society often praise children who sacrifices for their parents, even when it's rooted in manipulation. I need y'all to understand that. Oh, y'all. So let's go deeper. Let's go a little bit deeper, okay? So it says, y'all, you said, oh my God, yes, honey, it gets deep. And I just want to let y'all know, I'm not making none of this up. Y'all can Google, right? Y'all can Google this. All I'm doing is I did the work and I'm bringing it forth. But this stuff is real, right? And unless we know it, we gonna suffer for a long time because it messes with our mental. So let's keep going. It says how a narcissistic parent position themselves as your caregiver for life. It says, yes. So it says a narcissistic parent doesn't care for the sake of love, safety, or nurture. They care for the sake of control, relevance, and dependence. What they're doing is carefully setting, this is what they say, what they doing is carefully setting the stage so that you never truly feel free to live outside of them. Y'all, so we finna jump deeper into this. It says, okay, so it says how they do this, why they do this, and the warning signs to look for. Y'all, we finna bring awareness to this because this narcissistic parenting stuff, it gotta come to an end. It has to come to an end. Regardless of how we feel about our parents, when we know that every time we go around and we the only one that they applying pressure to, we got to understand that a lot of times it's grooming. Now, this is not for everybody. And like I told y'all, I'm not for everybody. But I'm for the people who resonate with me. If you can resonate with me and my story, then we understand each other. So it says creating dependency. They discourage your independency from a young age. making you feel like you can't do things without them, right? So you said, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, Michelle. Yes, absolutely. So it says they make you feel like you can't do things without them. Y'all, so let me tell y'all this. This is for the, and you would notice this in your adult years. If it's dealing with you, it can be, males can have narcissistic parent too. It's just not us females. So when you dating a partner and they always running back to their mom getting advice and can't think outside the box without them, or they mom whispering stuff in their ear, and then they come back to the house to tell you what mama said, or they won't specifically say what mama said, but all of a sudden they spewing out all of this stuff after they done came from their mom. Trust me, y'all, it's a man. I'm trying to tell y'all. But let's keep going. So it says financial control is a common tool. They may give you just enough support to survive, but in ways to keep you tethered to them, right? So a narcissistic parent, they will help you financially. But trust me, baby, when they help you financially, they have control over what they gave you to help you financially. And trust me, I'm talking from experience with this one. Okay? So they give you something, they would tell people, oh, well, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have had. Do you understand how that makes a person feel for anybody to say that, but especially your parent? They tell you, yes, I helped you, but if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have had that. Let's keep going, y'all. So it says they'll frame themselves as the only one who knows what's best for you, right? So when you want to branch out, you second guess yourself. Come on, y'all. Come on. Somebody needed to hear that, right? It says the message underneath it all is you can't survive without me, right? So it says they will weaponize guilt and obligation. They use past sacrifices as a lifelong debt. After everything I've done for you, they'll invoke culture, tradition, and religions, twisting messages about honor thy parents into lifelong servitude. Y'all, come on. Come. Y'all, let's keep going. If you resist, they paint you as ungrateful, selfish, and cruel. Y'all don't even understand how my name got smeared in them streets because I walked away, right? I took all of that back from her. Everything. And my name got smeared in the streets so bad, it don't even make sense, right? But that was because I had escaped that hold on me. I had escaped that grooming that was put on me from childhood. And I didn't know until I knew, right? So, we said that one. So, we said this one too. Let me keep going, y'all. Let me keep going. So, they exploiting society's praise. It says society often celebrates adult children who take care of their parents without asking if the relationship is toxic. Y'all, come on. We celebrate y'all for taking care of your parent, but nobody take the time to ask you, is it toxic? Is it toxic? Is it hurting you? Is it draining you? Nobody asks you that, right? So it says narcissistic parent knows this. It says they know this, y'all. A narcissistic parent knows this and lean on cultural narratives that shame you if you want to prioritize your own life. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. And a lot of us suffer because of this. A lot of us suffer because of this. You said, but God, yes, honey. Yes. That's why it's so important that we bring awareness of what's going on. Because a lot of us, from teenagers, from young children, we are getting groomed. We are getting groomed from our narcissistic parent. That's why we can't think for ourselves. That's why we have to always trickle back to them to ask them their opinion. I remember I would always say to myself and my friends back then, I would look at them and be like, dang, ain't I grown? Like, I'm in my 30s, like, am I grown? Because of the grooming. And you find yourself questioning yourself because of that, right? And so let's keep going. So it says, they may compare you to others. Look at so and so. They take care of their mother. That's what it says. They will compare you to others. If you don't serve, it says the underlying message from all of that is, if you don't serve me, you are failing as a child and a person. That's what it, that's what it will have us thinking, right? Because we have to conform for society. It don't care, society don't care if the relationship toxic or not. Family comes first, regardless if it's painful, regardless if it's neglect, regardless if it's all of that. We are to honor family first. That's not true. You are to honor yourself first. You put your pain before anything. You take care of yourself. And I had to learn that. It took me years to learn it, but I learned it. Right? So it says, why do they do this? It says, I'm sorry. So it says, why do they do this? Lifelong supply, right? It says narcissistic thrive on attention, control, and relevance. Caregiving assures they remain the center of your universe. Okay? They fear abandonment. They fear being alone, irrelevant, and powerless, positioning themselves as someone who needs you to keep them from happening to them, right? Power and control. Being cared for means never relinquishing the authority that held since you were a child. Relinquishing the authority, the authority they've had since you were a child. That's what it says. So we finna jump on warning signs for being groomed for a lifelong caregiver. These are the warning signs, y'all. They constantly talk about their health, fatigue, or future decline. They frame your independence as betrayal. You moving out, you don't love me. They make you feel guilty for wanting your own family, careers, or goals. They sabotage your outside support, friends, partners, and therapists. Y'all, how many of y'all know parents done came in between what y'all done had in a partnership? How many? Like, let's be real. How many parents did that, right? And not saying that it's always bad, but when they obsessed with trying to separate you from a partner, baby, that's a clear sign that that's a narcissistic parent, right? It says they repeatedly remind you how much they sacrifice and keep an invisible debt ledger. They're going to always remind you what they did for you. right? So they discourage you from planning your future without them at the center. Bottom line, a narcissistic parent don't want to be cared for. They want to be cared about. They weaponize dependencies, obligations, and fear to keep themselves in the center of your life. Recognizing these patterns is the first step towards breaking free and creating boundaries that allow you to live your own life. You said what, Michelle? You said it took you, yeah. Baby, I was in my late, I was about 32 when I was just like, this ain't that. This not that. Right? But even though I still was understanding that something wasn't right, it took me till I was like 35 to really cut ties. I was like, I'm done. Like I'm done. You know. But it says the illusion of selflessness. On the surface, it appears as selfish, ever-present parents, right? On the surface. Society loves the story of devoted parents who never lets go. But in reality, the selfishness is a disguise, right? They care comes with a contract. They care for you. It comes with a contract. Unspoken, but enforced, right? They'll always be here for you really means you will never leave me. They redefine normal caregiving, a season in a parent-child relationship, into a life sentence that binds you to them. Y'all, power and weakness. Most people gain power by being strong. Narcissistic parents often do the opposite. They gain power by presenting as weak, fragile, or incapable. That's why I said they play the role of, I'm sick. You know, I ain't gonna be here too much longer. Yep. So it says they will convince you that they can't survive without you. They've trapped you. By constantly positioning themselves as vulnerable, they manipulate your empathy and consciousness. That's why many children of narcissists feel like I can't ever leave or they'll fall apart. Y'all, come on. Come on. It said that emotional debt ledger. They keep running tallies of everything they ever done for you. Food, clothes, shelter, sacrifice, not the act of love, but an investment to cash in later. Come on. Did y'all hear what it said? Right? And we always know that we quick to throw up that I clothe you, I fed you, I shelter you. Like I said, that don't make you a good parent. That makes you a responsible parent, but it doesn't make you a good parent. Right? So every moment of caregiving you provide is framed as payback. If you try to step back, the ledger gets pulled out. If you try to leave, the ledger gets pulled out. How dare you after all I've done? You're never allowed to feel like a free adult. Did you hear what that said? You are never allowed to feel like a free adult because in their mind, you're forever indebted. Y'all, come on, man. Come on. You say you have cut ties this year. Okay. Man, look, people don't understand that our mental is important too. We human too. Just because they gave birth to us don't give them the right to abuse us. And a lot of us, we done normalized dysfunction so long, we don't know what it looks like. We don't know what abuse looks like. We don't know what dysfunction really is because nobody takes the time to break it down, right? And so we got to understand that this right here is letting us know that we were groomed. We were picked. We were picked. Now, every child is not groomed, but it's one that is. And that was me. That was me. You say your piece is everything. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. Right? So, it said control through enmeshment. Healthy parents raise children to separate, to get and become their own person, right? We encourage our children to separate, go, learn, explore, become your own person, right? But a narcissistic parent see individuality as abandonment. They blur boundaries so heavy that you don't know where you end and they begin. Do you understand that? This enmeshment makes their need for you feel like your identity. Y'all, come on. When I told y'all, one of the hardest things for me is when I walked away, I didn't know who Mona was. I didn't know who I was because I shifted so much in that household. I had to become who she wanted me to be in order for me to feel safe. And people don't think that that's real. It's real. That's why when people say, I'm finna cut them off and walk away. But then eventually you start going back because you don't know who you are. And you feel comfortable going back because that's the identity that you were shaped into. Right? It's hard. It's hard. But I tell y'all one thing, if you understand this and understand me, it only gets worse if you go back. Because a narcissist will say, okay, she needs me. He needs me. Once you take that step and you say enough is enough, be strong. Stay 10 toes down. I'm trying to tell y'all, stay 10 toes down. Yeah, especially if they was extremeness narcissistic. Yeah. So it says they will hijack your morality. They use your conscience against you. Listen to this. They use your conscience against you. They'll twist values like loyalty, faith, family, and traditions into weapons. If you want to step away, they'll label you selfish, cold, or even evil. I can't tell you how much my name was smeared. They create moral maze where the only right thing to do is take care of them indefinitely. Right? Society blind spots. Here's the dangerous part. Society often supports their narrative. Y'all, come on. Society often supports the narcissistic parent's narrative. And the reason, y'all, I'm getting so emotional when I talk about this, because my mother smeared my name to people in society. You know, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know. All I knew is I had walked away and I was self-caring and take care of myself. Baby, she gonna triangulate everybody in the family to come against you when you choose yourself, right? And so everybody looking at me crazy when I see him in the street. I don't know what's being said, but they will label you as evil. You said first thing they do is try to turn. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And the crazy part about it is They will reach out to people that they know that you don't talk to, right? They know that they don't talk to, so they can get their narrative off, because they know that the people is not going to come talk to you, right? And so that's a lot of times where I cut ties with a lot of people, because like they say, what society say, a parent will never lie on their child. Really? Really? I beg to differ. I beg to differ. And it's a whole lot of other people that can tell you that. A whole lot of people, right? So yes, it's parents out there that will smear campaign their children's name because they're losing control and their children is trying to fight for their own identity. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong for your children to want to have their own identity. But for you to start smearing their names, telling people that they're crazy and evil is insane, right? But it happens. It happens. You said family believes what narcissism. Yes, all the time. All the time. I can't tell you how many people repeated what she said without coming to me. But then when I finally did get in contact with some people that she smear campaign my name with, they was like, oh, are you serious? They gonna tell just enough to make them look good and to make you look crazy. That's just what a narcissistic parent do, right? So let's keep going, y'all. Because I got an hour. So it says, we talking about society blind spots. Okay. So it says, the praise isolates you further. The praise from society of what your parents say isolates you further. Because if you speak up about manipulation, you're seen as an ungrateful child, right? That's why I tell people when God told me that I can separate from that unit, and yes, he gave me that green light to separate from that unit. That's why I tell people I'm thankful that God allowed me to create my own family, right? So allowing me to separate from that unit, I still was isolated, right? Because society looked at me as the bad child because I walked away and separated from that unit. And they still look at me that way. I know, but nobody knows my truth. Nobody knows my truth. Nobody can tell my story, right? And so that's why I go so hard for the voiceless. That's why I speak every week on Life UnMothered for the voiceless, to let people know that you are not alone. You're not alone. I understand this. I understand even if you don't talk up about what happened to you, but understand that your voice matter. You matter. Your story is always going to be valid, regardless if somebody believes you or not. So that's what took me so long, to actually come forward, because I walked away and I was gone for a total of 7 years before I even started speaking. And I started speaking, 4 or 5 years ago. I planted the seed of Life UnMothered. And then I stepped back for about 4 years to get myself together, baby, because I was in a whole nother situation. But anyway, I stepped back. But I'm speaking again because it's so imperative that a person that's dealing with this needs to know that you're not alone. Especially if you see me and you resonate with the stuff that I talk about, right? So, and we're going to learn this together. We are going to learn this together, right? So it says, we're going to continue this. It says, they give the narcissistic parent societal backing to maintain their control. So by society praising your parent, and of course your parent gonna make it look good on the surface, they not gonna tell nobody that they're toxic behind closed doors of what you're doing. Nobody is gonna know that. That's why when you do speak up, people like, I can't see that. Your mama's so nice. I can't even see that. Okay. So they know how to put the show on. They definitely do. You know. But that's why I told y'all, we gotta stop living by what society says. Society is dysfunctional. Straight up. Society will tell you in your darkest days, will clap for you and tell you to keep going. Instead of you saying, I need to rest today. I need to take care of me today. Today I deserve not to be strong. Right? Because society always going to tell you to wear that mask. Put that mask on. Go smile. Tell people you fine when you are really, truly drowning inside. Society ain't going to come save you. Right? That's why I tell people you got to save yourself. So it says, we're going to keep going, y'all. And I got to get through this because this is really, really good. So it says the psychology effects of being groomed as a lifelong caregiver, y'all. It says loss of identity, y'all. This is, you lose your identity. You begin to see yourself through their lenses. The helper, the fixer, the nurse, the savior. Y'all, that's why we groom from a young age. That's why we put ourselves so much on the back burner to help somebody else, because we were groomed to do that. We were groomed for that. Your dreams, your aberrations, or even simple desires get buried because you were taught that their needs come first, right? We couldn't live out our dreams. We couldn't do that. They kept snatching that away because we had to be their caregivers for life, right? We can't have you straying away. Anything that I feel like is going to come take you away, I got to take them away. Or I got to get in between now, all of that. I got to stop it. That's how a narcissistic parent think, right? So it says, eventually, you can't tell where you end and they begin. Enmeshment convinces you that your identity is to exist for them, right? The impact that it's going to have. You struggle later in life. That's what, oh, come on, spirit. Somebody needs to hear that. You struggle later in life to answer, who am I outside of my family's role? Guilty as a consistent companion, right? Guilt as a consistent companion. Even when you're not physically with them, guilt sits in your chest like a weight when you're not physically with them. You feel guilty for resting, guilty for pursuing your own goals, or guilty for enjoying life. This guilt keeps you tethered emotionally. Even if you move away, it keeps you tethered emotionally. It impacts, guilt becomes your internal prison guard, keeps you from living freely. It keeps you from living freely. Y'all. Chronic anxiety and hypervigilance. You're always on alert for their next crisis. Did y'all hear that? You are always on alert for their next crisis, demand, or guilt trip. Any phone call, text, or visit could mean another obligation. It means another obligation you can't say no to. Your nervous system stays wired in fight, freeze, or fawn, never truly relaxing, right? So what's the impact of that? Over time, this consistent stress turns into burnouts, insomnia, health issues, and complex PTSD. Y'all. This is for real. This is for real. I'm not doing nothing but bringing awareness to this, y'all. So, y'all, let me, it says, when you don't break out, it says, when you don't break out the legacy of caregiving enmeshment, child sees love as servitude. Your kids grow up watching you constantly sacrifice your needs, your time, and your health for your parent. They learn that love equals serving without limits. They may start believing they'll one day have to do the same for you. Love becomes defined by suffering, not freedom. Setting up for explosive relationships. Y'all, this right here. This right here. Let me. So it says the tragedy of unbroken cycles. If you don't break free from this, your child grows up watching you be consumed by your parent and feel secondary in their life. Now, this is your child watching you when it comes to your narcissistic parent, right? They will observe guilt and obligation as core values. They grow into adults who rather repeat the same caregiver trap or rebel in ways that carry their own pain. Did y'all hear that? You even, this is your children. They grow up into adults, right? So this was us probably watching our parents do the same thing with their parents. Like I told y'all, it's generational trauma being passed down. So us, we grew up into adults who either repeated the same caregiving trap or rebel in ways that carry their own pain, estrangement, emotional shutdowns, or self-destruction. The deepest wound, they never learn that love can be safe, free, and receptive, because all they see is love twisted into chains, y'all. It's twisted into chains. And I'm gonna go ahead and read this, even though I done ran out of time, but I feel like this is definitely needed because people need to understand that a narcissistic parent will become a narcissistic grandparent. I can't say that enough. Okay? A narcissistic parent will become a narcissistic grandparent. If you were they chosen one to groom, they're going to groom your children. So they're going to make your lighter years feel like hell, and they're going to plant a seed in your child so that your child can make your later years hell. Yep. I'm going to read this. It says the 3-generation cycles of narcissistic caregiving. Generational 1, the grandparent behavior, position themselves as central, fragile, or forever in need of loyalty. Their tactics: create guilt and obligation. I gave you life, you owe me. Manifest health struggles to secure attention. Scapegoat child's independent. We are the scapegoats. Reframe care as a child's life purpose. Your purpose is to care for me, right? What does this do? This impacts you. How does it impact you? You are conditioned to serve instead of separate. You feel your identity equals caregiver, not individual. You internalize guilt for even thinking about living for yourself. Message held down: you are only valuable when you take care of me. That's what the parent says, right? 2, generational 2, which is us, the children, right? It says trapped in caregiving roles, emotionally and often physically, right? It says lives under guilt, duty and fear of abandonment. That's what we live under. We live under guilt. We live under fear, and we live under duty. This is why you see so many toxic relationships, right? Because they stem from us being groomed when we were younger. So it's sacrifice. You sacrifice personal goals, relationships, and dreams. This is why a lot of us don't live out our dreams. And who does it impact? It impacts our children. This is what our children see. They see you constantly serving your parents while neglecting your own needs. They experience your exhaustion and emotional absence, y'all. So because we so in tune to our narcissistic parent, which they groomed us to be, we abandon our own children's emotional needs, right? Because we are exhausted. They may step into little helper. Our children may step into little helpers roles to ease your stress, which is considered parentification, meaning that they lose their childhood to become a little adult. That's why when you see a 6 and 7 year old, you be like, "Oh, they've been here before. They already in survival mode," right? Parentification. They learn that self-care is selfish and family obligation is holy, right? So what is the message being passed down? Your needs don't matter. Family comes first, no matter the cost, right? Generational 3 is our children still, right? Behaviors as they grow. This is our children seeing us being groomed by our narcissistic parent, right? They cope with what they see. Being overcaring, fawning, or taking on responsibilities too soon. They normalize unhealthy family loyalty. This is just what we do in our family. They learn relationships equal giving more than receiving. Y'all, did y'all hear what that said? This is the cycle. This is the cycle. From parents to our mother, to us, to our children. This is the cycle, right? So, and then when they become adults, they either overcare for you or when you're older, feeling obligated. Or they swing the other way. Rebellion, going no contact, but still carrying guilt from unresolved trauma. And that's a lot of us. When we go no contact, it's very, very, very important that you find a support group, right? That you know that you are not alone, because if not, that guilt will eat you up, right? You know why you walked away. You know why you 10 toes down. You know this, right? But the guilt from going no contact and having unresolved trauma. Now, unless y'all follow me, you're not gonna know that you got unresolved trauma, right? Because nobody in our community breaks it down. Nobody talks about this. Nobody. They talk about healing, but what are we healing from? Healing is not a big old bubble. You can't just say go heal. We got to touch every aspect of our pain that we were handed to like an heirloom that we didn't even know had names, right? I ain't felt no kind of guilt. Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's good. That's good. Me, I did. I did in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. Because I feel like I've been groomed when I'm going to therapy since 6 years old. Like all of my trauma stem back to the age of 6 years old that I can remember going back, right? So of course I was a mini my mom. I was just that. And so me feeling guilty and stuff like that, I did. Now let's keep going. So it says they either rebel, go no contact, and still carry guilt or unhealed trauma. They may attract narcissistic partners, bosses, or friends who exhibit their learned lack of boundaries. Do you hear that? It says your narcissistic partner, which I don't. Anyway, I'm not even gonna let the devil take me there. Anyway, they will they will learn and study your lack of boundary. This is when we trying to develop them relationships and we attract another narcissist. You better understand that they are studying you. They studying you. So the cycle of motion. So the grandparents, you owe me care forever. The parent, internalizing that beliefs, live in guilt, teaches by example. The child, next generation, absorb the pattern, repeat it in childhood unless they consciously break it. That's why I said we got to learn. We have to learn. So, and I'm going to leave y'all with this one because, of course, I want to leave y'all with something. So, it says how to interrupt this cycle. How do we interrupt this cycle of narcissistic parent becoming a lifelong care? The cycle before, you believe caregiving equals love, guilt, love and guilt, and or you see it the other way. It said the break. How do you break this? You name the manipulation for what it is. It's not love, it's control. That's why I told you we have to put a name to these things. So when we see it, we can name it and say it out loud, right? You stop gaslighting yourself with them. They mean well. You stop gaslighting yourself, telling yourself, oh, they mean well, right? You have to admit this to yourself. This isn't normal. This isn't safe. This is a cycle. This is a cycle, right? It says, and stage 2. Now that's stage 1. Stage 2, you have the boundaries with your narcissistic parent. Now, the cycle before, you are available 24/7, dropping everything for them, right? What's the break? This is the break. You set limits with time, with money, with emotional energy, right? You stop over explaining or justifying your no with them. You allow their disappointment or rage without rescuing them. Let them rage. Let them be disappointed without coming to their rescue. Right? We got to learn that. The mantra, their reaction is not your responsibility. Did you hear what that said? And this is for us grown. You know what I'm saying? This is for our grown selves in late 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and some 70s, baby. I heard a 65-year-old lady tell me one day, she said to me at 65, ain't I'm grown? Her mama was still living. Ain't I'm grown? And I was like, yeah. She said, but my mama keep acting like I'm in her 60s. Number 3, you got to reclaim your identity, right? The cycle before, your whole life equaled the good child, the caregiver, the responsible one, right? The break means you explore who you are outside of their story. Explore who you are outside of their story. You pursue your goals, your hobbies, and desires unapologetically, baby. That's what you do. Go on and live your life. Go on, dust them dreams off. Go on, eat. Let me tell y'all something. And I believe in the Most High. I believe in the Most High God. I promise you I do. And you gonna have to lean on him for some strength. But he not gonna do the work for you. Okay? He gonna be there, but he ain't gonna work it. You got to save yourself. Right? So it says, so you allow their it says, okay, your hobbies, your desires, you do this unapologetically. And you stop centering your parents in every decision. Stop centering your parents in every decision. What's the mantra? I am more than what I do for them. You are more than what you do for them. Stage 4, emotional repair with your children. The cycle before. Your children see you drained, absent, and consumed by obligations. The break. You explain the truth in age-appropriate ways. Grandma puts pressure on me. This isn't healthy, and I'm learning to say no. You reassure them. You don't have to fix or carry me. I tell my daughter that all the time. Don't do it for me. Do it for you. You don't got to fix me. You create space where their needs and feelings are safe and prioritized. What's the mantra? I give my children what I didn't receive: freedom and safety. Right? Oh no, I'm frozen. Let me know. You said it was getting juicy. Oh no. Tell me when I came back on, y'all. Tell me if I come back on. Thank you for letting me know that. Tell me if when I come back on, y'all. Can you hear me? Hold on. Let me try to get on my let me know if y'all can hear me. If not, then I'm gonna have to pop back out and pop back in. But anyway, my show is still say that I'm live. It still say you said not here. Okay. So let me keep going. So it says refine family values. This is number 5. This is stage 5, y'all. And I'm going through the breaking point, how to interrupt these cycles, right? So stage 5 is refining family values. The cycle before means family equals obligation, guilt, sacrifice without limits, right? The break. You constantly rewrite your stories, your family script. Family equals love, respect, honesty, and choices, right? We gotta work on rewriting our family script. You model the boundaries, that boundaries are safe, not betrayal, right? You normalize rest. You normalize rest, joy, and undivided attention within your family's life, right? What does this mean? What's the mantra? In this family, love is freedom, not chains. Come on, y'all. But I got talked about when I left. Because I said it was enough. Enough was enough. I'm not living like that. Right? So stage 6. Stage 6, this is the last stage. It says healing practices for your nervous system, right? The cycle before. You live in survival mode, you live in guilt, and you live in hypervigilance. How are we breaking that? We learn grounding, we learn systematic healing, we learn trauma relief practices, y'all. And I'm going to look all of those up so that I can bring y'all resources. So it also says train your body to feel safe even when your parent is disappointed. You build resilience so guilt doesn't run your choices, baby. You build that resilience, right? You build that resilience. It says, what's the mantra? My body deserves peace, not just survival, right? So, y'all, I just really hope that y'all do y'all research on this. And y'all can Google more of it. Google Put this in Google. I'm going to tell y'all what to put in Google. Put in Google, a narcissistic parent often position themselves as a lifelong caregiver. Just put that in Google, right? Put that in Google and you will see that I'm not making this stuff up. All I'm doing is just bringing forth the information. I'm just letting it be known and plain that in our community, we suffer that a lot. But you know what? We done normalize dysfunction so much that it's normal. And nobody is going to see that unless we shine a light on it. We're not going to see it unless somebody shines the light on it. So I guess you can call me a whistleblower, right? Because I believe my personal beliefs of walking away is that the next generation that comes from me, which is already here, which is my daughter and my grandson. And guess what? In my bloodline, one day, I'm going to be somebody's ancestor. So I want them to say, guess what? She took the first initiative step to say, we not passing down no pain. We about to learn to do it different. And it's healthier that way. You know, I don't feel like I'm creating monsters. I don't feel like I'm keeping secrets. I don't feel like, you know, what stays in this house, what goes on in this house stays in this house, because that just learns that for number one, they fear that, right? And so when something traumatic happened to your child, say they get assaulted or anything, this is why some people will not come out and talk to either years later. I'm talking about years in their late 40s, 50s, 60s. Sometimes they will announce this on their parents' deathbed, and sometimes they won't talk until their parent is actually gone from this world. But just understand that secret that you holding, you're not holding that secret, baby. That secret is holding you. It's causing you turmoil in your life, dis-ease in your life. You know, just understanding that. And please hone in on, stop living on what society says, right? Somebody need to make a shirt to say F society. I might do that. F society. For real. Like, you know, of course we can keep some standards, but when it comes to holding toxicity, when it comes to valuing pain, like we bring value to a struggle. You know, if you're not struggling hard enough, you ain't accomplished. You got to, why we got to pass down a struggle in order to say that we accomplished from doing something, anything? It's not right? And we know that we need some work inside. We need to do some inner work, some self-evaluation. That inner child is a real thing, y'all. We done buried him or her so deep, but we got to go back. We got to take care of that little person that's in there. We have to. So with that being said, y'all, thank y'all for sharing the live. If y'all see this on the replay and y'all feel like somebody else need to hear it, please share the live out. Thank y'all. I appreciate for everybody. You said it's back on, but I think I'm behind. Catch the replay, Michelle. Just, you know where I cut off at and where it came back on. But y'all, thank y'all for the support so much. I really do. And if this has helped you in any kind of way, I'm actually working on my second book, y'all. It's not going to be as big as this. Like I told y'all, this is my first baby. This is my first self-published book. And the fonts was big, and I look, it don't even matter. It's about what's up inside here. It's about doing the work. You know, it's about doing that work. So I am working on my second book, y'all. I have a lot coming up, which I'm excited about. I'm not going to tell y'all. Y'all going to see it when I reveal it. So, but y'all, thank y'all for tuning in to the 10th. Y'all, we getting up there. We getting up there to the 10th episode of Life of Mother. And if y'all didn't catch the beginning, I am switching days. Life Unmothered will no longer be on Thursdays at 8 p.m. sharp. I am transitioning the show until Sundays at 8. It will be Sundays at 8 o'clock p.m. because I figure, Sundays at that time, everybody don't wind down, got the laundry out the way, dinner cook, and y'all can just relax and watch the show. So because my weeks are starting to get filled with activities and all of that stuff, so I don't have time to really stop on a Thursday to do the episodes anymore. So with that being said, the shows will be on Sundays at 8 p.m. sharp. I will still be on time, so I expect y'all to be on time. And but with that being said, y'all do your research on this topic tonight just so you can get some more eye-opening because it goes so much deeper. I just shined the light on it a little bit, but it goes deeper. So do your research, gain that knowledge because Scripture said, my people perish for the lack of knowledge, right? So we need that knowledge in order for us to do it different. So with that being said, y'all remember, this show is not just a moment. This is a movement. Y'all be blessed and be safe. And I will see y'all not this Sunday. Not this Sunday. That's why I had to go on today to get it out the way. But I will be on next Sunday. But hey, y'all might get a bonus episode in between there or something like that. But until then, thank y'all for the support. I really appreciate it. I love y'all for that. And y'all be blessed. Have a great one.